Hey, today is it's green. It is.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, the speaker's not on, maybe.
Today is Monday, April 7th. This is a Binghamton City Council work session. I call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, can we start with a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Councilmember Murray. Councilmember Middleton.
Present.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Present.
Councilmember Matavetsky.
Present.
Councilmember Hotchkiss and Councilmember Dundon are absent. Majority Leader Rathmel.
Then,
Thank you.
okay, our first presenter tonight is Miles Burnett for RL 2578, a resolution to issue an RFQ for a study on the measure of success of good cause, named in the Planning Committee, and I'll kick it to Council Member Kavanaugh.
Good evening. So we have a citizen presented RL in reaction to our passing of good cause eviction legislation in Binghamton. I'd like to turn over to Miles Burnett to give us an overview of his idea and what we should be considering. This is awful. Not Miles.
I appreciate
Audio.
it. Good evening, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight and for taking up my proposal to evaluate the impact of good cause eviction protections here in Binghamton. Can you hear me? How about now?
Yeah.
There we
Thank you.
go. So good evening, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight and for taking up my proposal to evaluate the impact of good cause eviction protections here in Binghamton. Before I get into the specifics of the legislation, I want to start by recognizing and thanking the leadership of this council. Your unanimous vote to pass good cause and your unity in overriding the mayor's veto was both principled and powerful. In the face of a coordinated smear campaign, you stood with your constituents and delivered real protections for the people who need them most. Good cause is a good law. It ensures that tenants can no longer be uprooted without reason, sparing families the instability that comes from sudden unjust evictions. With these protections, fewer children will be pulled out of school mid-year. Fewer workers will have to choose between keeping their job or finding emergency housing. And fewer families will be forced into shelters, overcrowded homes, or housing they can't afford just because they were given few weeks to notice to leave. Displacement is not just disruptive, it's traumatic. It costs time, energy, and money. Days of packing and cleaning, renting moving trucks, buying supplies, and taking unpaid time off from work. And for families already stretched thin, those costs can be devastating. In Binghamton, over 1/3 of residents live in poverty. That's almost 3 times the national average. And among children, it's even worse. It's higher, and it's 42% that live in poverty. These are the people that most likely will benefit from the basic stability good cause provides. And that stability is more than personal, it's public. When people can stay in their homes, we see improvements in health, school outcomes, economic opportunity, and community safety. That's why I believe good cause is not just good for tenants, it's good for Binghamton. Good cause is a strong step toward modernizing our rental laws, protecting tenants, and stabilizing the local housing market. And today I'm asking you to take one step further. The legislation I've introduced would authorize a request for qualifications, an RFQ, to identify an independent consultant or organization to conduct a data-driven evaluation of the law's impact here in Binghamton. This kind of study is critical. It allows us to cut through the disinformation and evaluate the law based on facts. Rochester passed a similar RFQ this last December, and I believe that Binghamton should follow suit. A rigorous local analysis will help us understand how good cause is affecting eviction rates, housing stability, and the broader rental market. Let me be clear, this law does not punish responsible landlords. It does not prevent property owners from reclaiming their units when they have legal grounds. It does not prohibit reasonable rent increases. What it does is stop unjustified rent hikes and eviction of tenants who are paying their rent and honoring their leases. And time again, we have seen these tactics used to displace working families in favor of higher paying, often student rentals. This study isn't about proving the critics wrong. It's about making sure that we get it right. If the law needs refining, let's have the data to guide that conversation. If it's working, which I believe it will, let's show that. Tenants and housing providers alike deserve that transparency and accountability. Let's lead the way in not just passing good policy, but in showing that good policy works. I urge you to support this proposal and help keep Binghamton moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Miles.
Any questions or comments?
Looking at this, I do like the idea, Miles. One of my things with this is the money. We would find the money to do this study. I'd have to ask Chuck. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but I think that's like kind of one of the things that we would have to start with, the money to do this study. Were you gonna say something?
No, I just basically I agree with you. I think in principle this is great, and it's a sort of follow up on legislation. We should be, looking at whenever we can, looking at results, tracking things, using data. And I know we had that sentiment going around the room as we were discussing the legislation. I would, so in principle, but yes, it comes down to a kind of a money thing. But I don't think it would be terribly costly to put together an RFQ and at least take it to that step to see, what a study of this nature would actually cost the city. And then we can kind of do a cost benefit from there. I know we had talked about some informal monitoring and using some of the connections resources we had when we were collecting data before good cause came through, and also sort of at least hopefully having Rochester study to look at. But the opportunity for Binghamton to undertake their own, I think we should investigate. So I would happily send this over to the committee to see what our next step would be to put out for an RFQ and at least see what it cost us.
I agree.
Any other questions or comments?
Did you say put it in committee, or is that what you said?
That's my suggestion.
Okay.
I think Rebecca's chair of the committee when she's not presiding. So is that, you willing to take step in committee? I'm assuming, yeah.
Yeah, definitely happy for the planning committee to take this up. I think the ideal certainly is a third party evaluation, identified performance metrics. And I would just ask Miles that as we head into that process, I'd be curious, given the work that you've done to look into other RFQs, other municipalities, your involvement in those conversations in terms of what's represented elsewhere, since you brought this forward. But even if we can't land on identifying the funding to support an RFQ, I agree with Councilmember Kavanaugh that considering putting out the RFQ, but ultimately the intention of the legislation to develop specific metrics by which to evaluate outcomes has to be a part of our ongoing conversation. So thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, thanks so much, Miles.
Thank you. I appreciate the work you all do.
Thank-
Okay, our next presenter is Franco from the Engineer Department. And this is RL 2577, a resolution for a no-cost amendment to the terminal pump station agreement. I will kick this to Councilmember Middleton in
Hi.
Public Works.
Hi, thank you. This is for RL 25-77, a resolution for a no-cost amendment to the terminal pump station. Sorry, it's me. I cut out. Thank you. Okay. Yes, can you explain? I can't hear you.
So the EFC requires certain certain language in the contract that we have. I think it should be like pages 2 or 3 of that.
Yes.
It should be right on there. So any EFC funding will require any of that language to be put on any contracts going forward. So
That's it. Okay. And I see that it's requesting expedition.
yes, please.
Okay. And can you tell me the reason why? Is it
Yes,
just because of the
we need
timing?
that, we need all signatures by, I believe, Friday morning
Okay.
to submit to EFC.
Okay. So,
Could be as early as Thursday afternoon, but.
Oh.
Okay.
okay. It's fine. I'd like to make a motion to expedite RL 25-77.
I'll second.
Okay, having a motion and second. Madam Clerk, can we please do a roll call?
Absolutely. Councilmember Matavetsky.
Gonna see if we have a discussion before if that's.
Oh, well, sure.
So, okay, so that you needed the signatures, but usually there's the kind of the follow-up question after that of,
I don't need one.
like, why it wasn't submitted so that we'd have the 2 weeks prior to you needing the signature, like, why wasn't this one step?
I'm not sure why. It just
Okay.
just happened that way. I know the project is important to both us and the village of Johnson City.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
And I'll, if everyone's ready to move to vote, I'll say vote in favor.
May I start again?
Sure, so we have a motion to expedite and a second. Madam Clerk, could we do a roll call?
Councilmember Matavetsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Murray,
Aye.
Majority Leader Rathmel.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 5-0.
Thank you, Franco.
All right, council members, thank you.
Okay, our next presenter is Chuck Robinson. And this is RL 2575, an ordinance to amend the 2025 general fund budget for firefighter equipment considered in the Finance Committee. I'll kick it to Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Okay, so this is relatively straightforward. We need to pay for turnout gear for 16 new firefighters, which makes sense, and I know we pay for it. And I don't know why, knowing we were getting a bunch of them, I don't know why we didn't put it in the budget in the first place last year. When we were doing the budget. I'm a little bit kicking myself for not noticing it, but I would think that the fire department would have noticed, but
No, is it working? It is working. Okay. It just sounds weird. Yes, we did put turnout gear in the budget. It's in the capital portion of it. But this basically, we were allowed to hire those extra firefighters with the SAFER grant.
which we knew we were getting though, like
Right, but the SAFER grant didn't include anything for equipment. It's just
right, but
salary.
I'm saying we knew we were getting the grant. I don't know why we didn't also think of, oh, we're going to need to anyhow.
I agree. I just wish, yeah. I wish the fire department would tell me that.
So where did you, so
Uh-oh.
it's April and we're shaking the couch cushions already. Where'd you come up with the,
This is,
what, about $80,000?
yes, $85,000 and some change, which was the estimate that I got. Basically, we're taking money from the new fire station and some old lines that haven't been used in years in the capital fund, and then we're having to use the rest of it in fund balance in the general fund.
So it's what portion are we pulling out of general fund reserves then?
Yes. 42,000.
40, that's about half.
Of the 85.
Okay. And it needs to be expedited because they're training and we need to give them gear.
And it takes a while for them to get the gear, to get it sized, get it made for them.
Any other questions or comments?
Just random. How long does it take for them to get for the equipment and everything?
I knew you were gonna ask that. That's why I put the fire chief on here on this RL. And so I didn't ask him that. No, I didn't. It does take some time though. I wouldn't venture a guess, but I would say at least 2 to 3 weeks.
And the equipment's made especially for the,
Yeah, it has to be
Awesome.
sized and fitted. The masks have to be fitted. The gloves have to be fitted. The boots have to be everything's fitted.
tailored.
Yep, and they have, just to be clear, they do have alternate sets, but these turnout gear, they only last for 10 years. That's the limit that they're supposed to use them for. And then they have a second set to use in case their first set that they're using, the newer set, gets badly burned or whatever in a fire or something happens to get ripped. They can use that second set temporarily until they get a replacement set. So they do have alternate sets, but this is what the recruits need to start out with.
Awesome.
So I'll motion to expedite.
I'll
Second.
second.
I have a motion and a second to expedite. If there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call?
Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Murray.
Aye.
Majority Leader Rathmo.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 5-0.
Thank you, Chuck.
You.
We're going to move on. You are our next presenter for RL 2576 as well, an ordinance to amend the 2024 general fund budget to accrue 2024 police and fire retirement benefits considered in finance. Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Right. So, well, we just introduced it back. So, basically, my understanding is this is accounting, we are taking funds left in the 2024 budget that's accounting for retirement payouts and using what is available from 2024, the unused days and unused time that was accrued in 2024 to make those payouts now in 2025 for those retiring. So
Right.
that's why this makes sense to go back to 2024 to use up that money. Is that
That's
Correct.
correct. Yeah, basically a lot of the vacation and personal time are front loaded in 2025. I did not use that. I only used the time that they earned in the past year and everything that was allowed for them to be paid out that was accrued in 2024. Anything that's in 2024, in 2025, that's still in the 2025 budget. And I have a spreadsheet. I didn't send it to you, but I can, if you'd like the breakout.
Sure.
How I did it.
Yes, please. Does that spreadsheet identify how many police officers and firefighters have retired or will be retiring for the payout?
Absolutely. This was as of March 31st. So we've had some other retirements that are going to be happening in April, but that's just going to happen fall in the 2025 budget.
Would you mind representing just on the record what's on that spreadsheet as far as totals?
Sure, there's 3 firefighters and 5, oh, sorry, 3 police officers and 5 firefighters.
And you're asking for this to be expedited because they're retired and they want money?
They are retired, they want their money, and I'm gonna close the books here in a few days.
And I'm sorry, they retired in 2024 or they retired as of March 30th?
No, they all retired between January 1st and March 31st. I don't have their dates on here, but they're all varied. Several of them retired in February 28th, I believe. And then some in March. I don't have those dates, but they're easy I can get them for you.
Any other general discussion, questions? I'll motion to expedite then.
Second.
If there's no further discussion or questions, comments, we have a motion to expedite and a second. Madam Clerk, can you do a roll call?
Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Murray.
Aye.
Majority Leader Rathma.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 5-0.
Okay, thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
You too.
night.
Thank you.
Okay, our next presenter is Corporation Counsel Robert Heery for RL 2580, considered in Public Works. With Council Member Hotchkiss absent, I will kick this to Council Member Middleton.
Thank you. This is RL 25-80, a resolution authorizing an agreement between Williams Auto Group for the purchase of 400 Court Street. Can you explain what's going on?
Yeah, so the city is looking to build a pump station on the east side to try and help with flooding in the area. This particular site is where we located to be ideal for the pump station because of its local.
Here. Should know.
Hello? Oh, there we
You-
go. Okay. So this is for a pump station on the east side. It was located based off of an engineering review of it, basically find where the best spot was, what's the lowest spot so we can handle the flooding best. We entered into, well, we've been negotiating with Williams Auto Group that owns that particular parcel. And this is the option agreement that came out of it to purchase the property where the pump station will be located. And I do have an appraisal report. It's just a letter that Williams provided for their position as to what the value of the parcel is. And I can send that around to council.
And that's 400 Court Street. That's the address for that. Is that
Yes, it won't be it'll just be a portion of that parcel.
just a portion? Okay.
And that's essentially the train track side across from their larger parcel.
Yes, it's not, runs back up to the train tracks.
In terms of an agreement for purchase, you just mentioned there's an appraisal, there's an amount. Where would this be coming from in the budget?
That I'm not entirely sure of.
This is only an option, right? So this gives us an option to
Gives
buy
us-
the specific price for a specific time.
Yes. And there was also a look at securing grant funding for this. I don't know what the status of that is though.
Councilmember Kavanaugh, when you say this is only an option, what do you mean? So we're authorizing an agreement, but we're not authorizing a purchase?
That's my understanding of the document, right? We're purchasing an option to buy for $1. That's all we're doing at the moment.
Yes.
Oh.
So I mean, we have to eventually find the money to make the purchase of this. But the idea is to try and lock in the price now so that we can do the design work for this to hopefully secure the grant funding. Now it's also use it or lose it option. So we pay for the option. If we don't use it, then, you know, it's not like we're gonna get anything from it.
But it'll cost us $1 plus your time.
Yeah, so it costs $1 plus our time for the initial option period, and then the extension, if we wanted to extend it, would be $5,000 for that extension, and that would then get applied to the purchase price. If we purchase it, if we don't purchase it, then we're out $5,000 with the extension.
Any further questions or comments? I may have, what is the timeline on this?
It's asking for expedition.
I didn't.
No, it's not. It's not. I read up. Oh, no, it's not.
Timeline in terms of exercising it. So the initial period is through the end of November 2025, and then after that, we can extend it through March, the end of March 2026. So if grant finding couldn't be found, I think the plan is to budget for it in next year's budget. Or try to.
Any
Okay.
further discussion?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Harry. For those who are following along on the agenda, the clerk's office has withdrawn their submitted request for the next agenda item, RL 2579. So we will move to our next presenter, Councilmember Middleton, for RL 2581, considered in municipal and public affairs.
Thank you. Thank you, Majority Leader Rathmel. This is RL 25-81. I am the chair and the presenter. This is a resolution to name the pool house in Fairview Park in honor of Eliza Spencer. As many of you know, Eliza Spencer was tragically murdered this month. I think it's the third year that we still have not found answers to her untimely murder. Eliza was a student in East Middle in the 7th District, where President Dundon resides. And this is just a way of honoring her as being a young constituent on that side of town, and for the many people that still honor her legacy. I think one of the it was very sad, and it is a very tragic loss. But out of this, Eliza Spencer, there's so many people that her memorial helps every single day. They are looking to feed people. They are looking to house people. So we still haven't, the murder still hasn't been solved, but the people who live in her district, in her area, work every single day to keep her memory alive through acts of kindness. I would also like to have this RL expedited.
Am I understanding correctly that the expedition is to align with the 3rd anniversary?
Correct.
Towards the
Correct.
end of
Yes,
this
I was
month?
going to say that. Yes, I was going to say that next. Yes. So the expedition is for in honor of the 3rd anniversary for her with the pool house.
Any
Okay.
questions or comments?
Yeah, so is this coordinated with her family, or how is this proposal come together, picking this pool house and all of that?
Well, so from my understanding with Councilmember Dundon, and I can ask him again, I think those things are in the works. The main thing is trying to honor her memory and to do it because the third anniversary is coming up. So I think those things will be coordinated in time, but the main reason why President Dundon wants this done is to honor the third year of her tragic loss. And also to recognize that we still have not forgotten about her and we still think about her constantly. So.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
So I mean, I would defer to folks on that side of town and Council President Dundon. But I am certainly in favor of memory. She enjoyed the Fairview Park and the amenities there, and so that's a all that part is all good. My only reservation, I guess, is coordinating, and the building is very boring. I would somehow think it would be ideal to do something with the building, plaque or a mural, something more permanent and something to make it a more positive, attractive memorial for her. So I don't know, maybe planning has gone on me, behind the scenes. Maybe Parks is involved, I don't know. But to make that a more welcoming, appropriate spot to honor Eliza's memory, I think I'm just questioning timing, and the other obviously we, especially due to the unsolved nature of the case, I understand people want to focus on the date of her death, but I think in memorializing people, it's often better to do it on their birthday, what would have been their birthday. I think that's a very strong, and I think that's a stronger, more way to honor somebody's memory often. So it's just two thoughts. So both related to timing and presentation. So, but again, I will defer to the people that have been putting work in on this.
Well, I agree with that. I agree with your sentiments for that. I think that President Dundon, thought about this idea. I think more things are to come, but just kind of naming it now. But there's always time to put the kinks and really make it a very nice celebration. So I understand those things. I think the timing on, her memory and her memorial, I think that's kind of what he, when he wrote this RL, that's kind of what he was thinking. But I know that he is open to adding more and making it a big thing, but just, I'm sorry, making it a bigger celebration, just getting that name out, just getting it out there first, and then we can go from there and add more and do more for her.
Any further discussion? We do have a request to expedite. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
With a motion and a second, Madam Clerk, could you do a roll call, please?
Council.
I guess the discussion on the motion to expedite, but this gives us the option to move forward, but we can have another discussion between now, and Wednesday we can look into it, make sure family and all the things behind the scenes are
Yes.
done and
Yeah.
and what is appropriate. This gives us the option to honor her
Yes.
in time, if that's the way her family and
Yes, of course.
so that is why I'm planning to support the expedited.
Great.
Hearing a motion and a second, Madam Clerk, can you do a roll call, please?
Councilor Matavetsky,
Aye.
Councilor Kavanaugh, Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Murray,
Aye.
Majority Leader Rathmel.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 5-0.
Okay, that concludes our presentations and discussion for this evening. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Oh, that was beautiful.